And that's when they shut the door. And that's when Henry locked the door. That's how the locker sound. That's when he was pulling himself back away from the door. And that's when Henry laid it down by Juan. They were standing by the bathroom counter, by the bathroom shelf. And that's when they were looking at the door. And that's when Juan grabbed it to protect him and Henry. He grabbed the plunger by the toilet. And that's when he gave it to Henry to go out to protect herself. And that's when Henry was a little bit scared. He looked at Juan. And that's when Juan said, "Look down." And that's when he looked up and he said, he was doing like this. He was telling Henry to go. And that's when Henry went out the door. He was at the living room. And that's when he opened the door and he did like this. Yeah. And that's the girl. The girl name is Madison. Juan knows her. That's her. That they're kind of like friends a little bit, but not really, because like they go to high school. Juan is 14 and Madison is 15. This is Madison. That's Henry holding the plunger. So Madison is 15 and Henry is 9 years old. That's when Madison blinked her eyes, and that's when she looked at him. And he said, Juan, somebody's here. That's when Juan peeked out. And that's when he said, "Oh, that's the girl from my high school. I forgot we called her." That's when he went out. That's when Madison said, "Listen, are you gonna hit me with that or not?" That's when she said, and that's when Henry said, and he said, "I'm here. We need your help." And that's when he said, "Oh, I remember you. You're the knowing little kid at school. We're friends." And he said, "Hey, can I come to your house?" And that's when she looked at the house, and that's when she said, "Oh!" And the house looked all messy because the ghost did it. That's the sink. Those are the shelves, a part of the kitchen, and that's the toaster, and that's the wall, and that's the shelf too. And those are messy things on the floor. And that's when he said, "Hey, what are you doing? Are you young?" And that's when she was saying, "Are you like one of those people that messed their house up?" And that's when he said, No, let me explain." And that's when Henry was saying, "Let me explain too." And that's when Juan said, "No, let me explain." And that's when he said, "Okay, let me explain. First, we were eating our popcorn. That's when, if you believe it or not," that's when he was saying, "Okay, we were eating our popcorn. Then, over the sudden, my brother Henry just seen something. And that's when I just didn't believe him. I just thought it was like angel or something." And that's when Juan was saying again, and that's when we got very terrified. Our TV fall down. Everything started falling down in the kitchen. We called you. No, right before that we called you, and that's when the kitchen and the TV fell in the kitchen. And that's when he said, "Right," and that's when Juan said, "Right, Henry?" And that's when Henry said, "Mm-hmm." He was saying yes, but he was saying, "Mm-hmm." He was a little bit it was a little bit sad. It's because he didn't get to explain it, what he did, and he said, and that's when he said, and that's when we called, and that's when Henry just grabbed the phone, and that's when we called you. That's when he said, and that's when he said, I'm not pretty sure I'm not gonna believe you guys. And that's when he said, wait, did I just saw something right there? And he said, oh. And that's when he looked it back. A picture used to be right there. And that's when he said, yep. And that's when he said, oh, because he looked as shocking. And he said, yep, that's a ghost. And that's when Madison said, okay, guys, if you guys are telling the truth, I will be in. Okay, guys.